This old farm boy sitting on his front porch. Guy pulls up in a Prius, gets out. Says, hey, he says, I noticed I was driving down the road. He said, I noticed all along that fence line, he said, a bunch of milkweed. He says, what would you take for some fresh milk? Farmer says, well, he says, I'll tell you what, he says, you get milk out of that milkweed, you just go right ahead. So the guy goes, pops a hatch on the Prius, grabs his bucket out, and heads out across this field. About a half hour, 45 minutes later, he comes back, bucket full of milk. Waves to the farmer, sits at the back of the Prius, and leaves. Next day, he shows up again. Farmer says, how was that milk? He says, you know, he said, it was fantastic. He said, I ain't had fresh milk like that since I was a kid. He said, growing up, Grandma lived on a farm, he said, my wife made some fresh chocolate chip cookies, and we had that fresh milk. He says, just awesome. He said, but you know, while I was out there, he said, I noticed that whole back 40's covered with buttercups. He said, what would you take for some fresh butter? Farmer says, again, you can get butter out of them buttercups, you can have it. So, grabs his bucket, takes out across the field. About an hour later, he comes back with a bucket full of butter. Puts it in the Prius, leaves. Third day in a row, he shows up. Farmer says, how was the butter? And he says, he says, I was like heaven. He said, my wife made some fresh dinner rolls. He said, we put that butter on there. He said, it was to die for. He said, but while I was out there in that field of buttercups, he said, I noticed, can't even see it from the road, but along that back hedgerow there, he said, there was a whole bunch of pussy willow growing. And the farmer said, just a minute, let me get my hat.